All right, people, good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. It's time for another edition of Pass Coverage Thursday, and I got to tell you, the news is almost all good. Like, I don't think it's a mystery that pass coverage was really good this most recent game, but you go down the list, and there's one person who actually gave up significant plays and coverage in that game, and there's always going to be one guy, right? Like, unless you're playing the Nathan Peterman type quarterbacks, or you're catching a aging quarterback just as he's starting to fully get over the hill and have nothing left, it's not like you're going to have a game where you hold a quarterback to 65 yards. That just almost never happens. If he plays the whole game, he's going to get a couple hundred on you almost always. Very, very rare you see a game where just everybody's a shutdown cover player. So the fact that we only really had one guy get beat up for anything significant is pretty remarkable. And if we can keep that up going forward, I believe this team could actually achieve something nice this year. I believe this team could actually fully turn it around on defense to where they're at least a decent unit that is capable of getting a few wins without the offense dropping 40 plus. So let's go ahead and take a look here, starting with the linebackers, and it's good. You look at these linebackers. Jordan Brooks got targeted a couple times, gave up a couple completions for 12 yards. So I think he got targeted 3 times, 2 completions, 12 yards. Really good. Obviously, his season numbers are still really bad. He still has a lot to work on. He's never going to be a great cover player. He'll probably never even be a good cover player. Maybe not even average, but for this one game, you didn't really notice him out there. 12 yards in coverage allowed for Jordan Brooks. I mean, I wish he could play even 1/5 that good in every game. If he could do that, I don't think we would have much of a problem here. So, a big part of it is being able to take him out of those situations. So, that's something that can be controlled to a certain extent. But clean game for Brooks in coverage. He didn't really give up much of anything. Cody Barton did not get targeted once in coverage, which that's what happens when you take him off the field a lot. When you take him off the field, he can't get targeted. Most of the plays where he was in were running plays, and you can't target him on a running play. So nothing new for Cody Barton. Darrell Taylor got targeted once, did not give up the completion. Nwosu gave up a couple completions. All in all, he gave up like 30 yards on, I think it was 4 targets. So perfectly fine there. Nothing wrong with that. Fine. And that's it for the linebackers. So clean. Cornerbacks. Again, almost all good news. Sidney Jones didn't play that much, didn't get targeted. Artie Burns was out. Tariq Woolen did get targeted a handful of times. I think it was like, 6. Gave up a handful of completions, but only 175 yards on the season. And in this most recent game, not even 25, 23 yards. 23 yards on, let me make sure I get it right here. Yeah, 4 completions. Oh, my bad. Yeah, on 4 completions. So you can give up those short little completions. I will live with that all day from an outside cornerback. That's no problem. And he had another interception. His QB rating allowed went down again. And 6 games in, we're still at the point where legitimately a quarterback would be better off chucking it into the dirt every play than throwing to the person covered by Woolen. That's not totally true because of the penalties. I know that, but this is still pretty spectacular. What he's doing as a player who, by even Jordan Brooks admitted, like, this guy still has so much to learn. He is doing this just based off his physical abilities. And his physical abilities are absolutely carrying him to the point where he looks like one of the best corners in the league. So I don't know where this is going, but it's going somewhere very exciting and very positive for this team and him. Michael Jackson had another good game, as near as I could tell. He got targeted 3 times and gave up 2 completions for a grand total of 14 yards. As an outside corner, yes. Kept everything clean. Nobody gave up a touchdown in this game, by the way. I'll just get that out of the way. I think you guys all knew that. We did not allow a passing touchdown or a touchdown of any kind to their offense. So Michael's doing good too. 90 QBR allowed. Perfectly fine. Especially when you have a guy like Woolen across from you where you know as this season goes on, teams are going to stop targeting Woolen almost completely and they're going to start picking on Jackson more it's nice to know that he's holding up so far. 124 yards in coverage allowed, and he's played not the whole season, but most of the season. 21 targets, 124 yards. That's winning football for sure, no doubt about it. Kobe Bryant got thrown at a fair few times. He got targeted 6 times in coverage, but only allowed 2 completions for 10 yards. 10 yards. And for a guy who had been the cornerback who was getting beat up, for a guy who had been giving up a lot through the first 5 games, that is a huge step in the right direction. As a nickel corner, allowing 10 yards on 6 targets, you're doing something very, very right. And combine that with his forced fumble, that was the best game Kobe's played in his career, and I don't think it's close. And I don't think that's even a controversial thing to say. That's it for the cornerbacks, because Ryan Neal is, as we've said before, playing safety. Ryan Neal is the one guy who kind of got pushed around a little bit in this game, in coverage. He got targeted 8 times in total, and he gave up 5 completions for just about 80 yards, 81 yards. So it's not the worst when you get targeted 8 times and give up 81 yards. That's not a complete smoke show. That's not you just getting blasted off the field irreparably, but it is the worst that we have. And again, it has to happen to somebody, right? Like, you're going to give up some passing yards in a game. Unless you're playing the truly worst of the worst of the worst at quarterback, he's going to do something at some point, and somebody's going to have to be responsible for that. In the modern NFL, you don't stop a opposing team, an opposing passing offense, passing quarterback every single time. They get you at some point. So 81 yards for Ryan Neal, but still a big improvement over what we had at that position before. And that takes us to the other starting safety, Quandary Diggs. He got targeted twice, gave up a couple completions for not a lot of yards, 30, fine. Overall, his numbers in coverage this year are still quite good. Only 87 yards allowed, and he plays every snap. He's not playing terribly well this year for other reasons, like the tackling and not making plays and dropping interceptions, and I understand all that. In coverage, he is still getting it done. He's still one of the better single high safeties out there. Still somebody who you can trust to keep things clean over the top. And I don't know where we're going from here, but a lot of people are saying, he's completely shot. I don't see that. I see a flawed player. And there are things going on right now on this team that are exacerbating that those flaws. Josh Jones, as he usually does these days, played a little bit. He got targeted twice and gave up 1 completion for a grand total of 26 yards. I think it might have been the Zach Ertz play over in the middle of that game. Not 100% sure, but whatever, sure. He's obviously still struggling as a player pretty mightily here. But, I mean, we have a pretty clean comparison here, right? Ryan Neal and Josh Jones have now been targeted an equal number of times in coverage this year. They've allowed an equal number of completions. But Josh Jones has allowed twice as many yards, more than twice as many yards. So, hey, I think we're going to call that one an upgrade, right? And that's it for Pass Coverage Thursday. It's good. Everything here is good, except for the Ryan Neal thing, and even that's like whatever. It's not the end of the world. It was just a really good game from our coverage unit, and you get these results. All right, see you guys later. Have a good day. Go Hawks.